Ladies and gentlemen, you've heard their point. Now, hear the counterpoint on Libertarian Counterpoint Podcasts.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Knuckleheads of Liberty podcast. We are coming at you on February 10th of 2021. So this is just about 3 weeks or so into the Biden administration. And, with a lot of talk of unity in the midst of impeachment. But before we get to any of that, let me introduce our panel to you. In our upper left-hand corner, we have our screaming eagle of freedom, Tim Everett.
This is messing with me being in the opposite corners now. I'm all messed up.
You'll have to use the left side of your brain. Anyway, but he is a pilot in the state of California. And in our upper right-hand corner, we have Leon, the word Breathwaite, last word in Liberty. He is a retired engineer in the state of California. My name is Jason McPhee, and I'll be your host today. So let's jump right into the topics. So the focus of our show this time is going to be on impeachment. And so obviously this is something where everybody's talking unity. At the same time, they're all saying the other side's trying to kill us and we need to impeach a guy who's already out of office. So it's getting a little bit crazy out there, but they've just started the actual hearings this week, I believe, on it in the Senate. So
yesterday. Yesterday.
And so it's kind of crazy. It's not even your normal, I guess, there is such a thing as a normal impeachment hearing, but a normal impeachment hearing, you'd actually have the Supreme Court justice sitting in and overseeing it. But apparently the Supreme Court didn't want to have anything to do with this one either. So it's actually one of the Democrats is sitting in filling that role. So you can see it's definitely a fair and balanced process right from the beginning when the people who are trying to get you thrown out are also sitting as judge over the process as well. But anyways, do you guys have any thoughts on this whole impeachment madness that we're embroiled in?
Well, first of all, Leon's going to have to use the right side of his brain because of this mix-up here, and that's the artistic side of the brain. So I expect some very, very clever remarks coming from the last word in Liberty. But Bruce Springsteen, speaking of the right side of your brain, Bruce Springsteen thinks that the Democrats are the party of unity and the Republicans are the party of divisiveness, or is it divisiveness? And so with that said, no wonder that they all think that now it's all puppy dogs and kitty cats. And
Tim, just to jump in to let our viewers know what you're talking about. In the recent Super Bowl, there was an advertisement where it's about a 30-second or so piece where Bruce Springsteen pretends to be a farmer, I guess, and he tries to make it like he lives in the middle of the country, and it's all about unity, when clearly he's been a major advocate for the Democrat Party ever since.
Yeah, we need to meet in the middle. Meet in the middle. So, I don't know. Just such a waste of time, in my opinion. Whether or not it's constitutional, I'm not going to get into that. But I just think it's just trying to get back as much as they can. To beat a dead horse, to kick them when they're down. And that's all it is. It's schoolyard antics by people that never got out of grade school mentally. These partisan, tribalist politicians that, anybody in your side is evil and anybody in my side is pure as the wind-driven snow, as I like to say, and it's just theater for their constituents to keep them in power as long as they can. Because everybody on their side, the Democrat side, hates Trump, or they think they do, and everybody else on the other side is a bunch of evil doers. And if they would just wake up and become get with the program. We know what's best for the country, and by golly, we're gonna shove it down your throat whether you like it or not.
Well, I believe that this whole process is unconstitutional. Okay, I know yesterday the Senate voted to proceed with it because they thought it was still constitutional to do so, but I believe this process is unconstitutional. It is unconstitutional because the Constitution clearly says, and I think we're supposed to be living by that document, it clearly says removal and disqualification. It doesn't say removal or disqualification. It says removal and disqualification. I do not know how we will remove a president from office when he's already removed because they claim he lost the election and he is thus out of office. So I believe it's unconstitutional. Besides that, it's virtually impossible that they will convict Trump. The Democrats need 17 Republicans to join them. At most, they're going to get is 5, maybe 6.
Because I believe they need 67 total votes, right, in the Senate.
67 total,
and
yes.
Clearly, they don't have 67 Democrats in the Senate.
They don't. There's no way they're going to get 17 Republicans to join them. They may get 4, somewhere between 4 and 6. It depends on how the trial go on. So to me, it's unconstitutional, and to me, it's a waste of time of what they are trying to do. However, I do believe I understand why the House impeached Trump and impeached him for a second time. The first one was ridiculous, but this one may have had some substance. I do not believe that a president, I'm speaking figuratively, should be anywhere within 100 miles of anything like what happened on the Capitol. Now, I do not believe Trump incited these people, but he's aware of a fringe element within his supporters that get all riled up, and they have done this before in terms of little riots and little things that happen during the campaign and that kind of stuff and things like that. And there were some very loose statements made at that rally on January 6th. So I understand why the House impeached him, even though I believe the process has a stench of hypocrisy in it, because they did not give Trump any opportunity to defend himself. There were no hearings. They didn't do anything like that. But the Constitution, which I'm willing to live by, gives the House of Representatives the sole power of impeachment. And how they want to run their process, that's up to them. I may disagree with it, and I do disagree with it, but the outcome, the impeachment, the fact that they voted to impeach him, I can see there is an argument for that, and I don't have any good arguments against the impeachment itself, but the process stinks. So, but overall, though, I think this is a waste of time. It really is. I don't know what they are trying to do. I mean, they cannot inflict any more damage on Trump. He's already out of office. Their hatred of him is just showing as far as I can see. So I don't know what it is they are trying to achieve by going through this farce. And that's what it says. It's a farce.
What about the claim that what happened January 6th was insurrection? What do you think about that, Leon? Was that insurrection? That you, as what you know, insurrection has been in the past in different countries and so on? Well,
no, I don't think it's an insurrection to start with. Okay, but the day January 6th on CNN, I had a friend here in my home on that day, and he was watching CNN when this thing started, and within 10 minutes of those people entering the Capitol, CNN used the word insurrection. And since then, talking about fact checking, nobody went back and said, well, was that really an insurrection? Okay. But it was not. Okay. It was just a bunch of damn fools went into the Capitol, they rioted, unfortunately people died and people got injured. But that was not an insurrection as we know insurrection to be. But the left is very good, at taking words out of common usage that we know in common usage and use it in their own within their own narratives to convince us that they are such good people. They could see good and they can see evil, but they'll always use words that we know in common uses. One of them does really irritate me is for them to use reproductive rights. Oh God, it does irritate me when I hear them use that word, because you know what they're talking about. Okay, so no, this was not an insurrection. It was not, but it was just some idiots went into the capital. They rioted. They did some very awful things. I hope they are prosecuted, as it seems like they will be, and I hope some of them end up in prison, and that's fine. But I do not want the hypocrisy to go by without notice. During the summer, our cities were being burned by Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Nobody was, our federal building was attacked, as a matter of fact, and they were trying to set it on fire with people inside of it. And nobody called any of that insurrection. Nobody called any of that, anything like that. As a matter of fact, we were hearing that those are mostly peaceful protests. That's what we heard all summer long.
Well, Leon, more to the point, there was actually a violent protest out in front of the White House as well. So, I mean, it's very odd that, how the mainstream media can, immediately call what happened insurrection with these, protesters at the Capitol. But somehow when these protesters are literally throwing things at the police lines defending the White House, during this, while they're trying to tear down statues in front of it and everything else. In fact, they were even attacking reporters and other people as they not lefty reporters, but anybody else, who wasn't properly affiliated. They didn't have their mainstream media gang tats on. but
maybe they have a special sign.
Oh yeah, special sign for that.
Yeah, but there was at least one Fox reporter who was attacked out in front of the White House. While you had the police lines that were trying to, and they were, keep these protesters at bay, and they were throwing, I think, bottles of frozen water and other things like that at the police. So that, this was not at all. I mean, I think there were several police who were injured in that, and not a word. It was a mostly peaceful protest from. So you can kind of see how this works.
Yeah, we could talk all night about all that kind of stuff. I just have a word. My description of the January 6th Capitol thing is a photo op for Facebook posting.
A fair amount of that happened.
Yeah.
Especially for a guy with horns on his head.
Yeah.
That guy especially.
There is a consequence, though, to this impeachment that I don't think I really haven't heard much of in the media. And it's, I personally don't care, to see Trump run again. I'm kind of hoping he won't. but I voted, libertarian the last few elections. So he's not really my guy. Although I think this whole impeachment thing is a complete farce. But the thing that actually concerns me isn't so much, that his inability to run for office again. It's actually that one of the consequences of being impeached is that you lose Secret Service protection. And, that actually does have some consequences I'm a little bit concerned about, because if he were impeached, and it's very unlikely to happen because
you mean convicted. He's already impeached. You mean convicted.
Yeah, he has to be convicted. Yeah. Yes. So, but if he were convicted, then he actually loses Secret Service protection, and that actually has some real implications if somehow that were not restored, because he could very easily be assassinated if he did not have Secret Service protection. I mean, this has happened to presidents who do have Secret Service protection. And certainly we know Trump is a lightning rod. And, that could be an extraordinarily divisive thing in this country if he lost his Secret Service protection and then were assassinated. And not just the issue if he were assassinated by some lefty nut, but suppose it was, somebody from a terrorist organization, in the Middle East or something. I mean, certainly there are people who would be very upset with Trump from his actions over in the Middle East. And I mean, the idea that could potentially happen if because certainly Trump is very likely not going to be able to afford the same type of protection that he would get with Secret Service protection, even though he does have some of his own resources.
Sure. Honestly, Jason, that's a good point, because I never really even thought about it, to be honest. Because I'm sure even if Trump loses his Secret Service protection, which I don't think is going to happen given what's going on in the Senate right now, but it does raise some really interesting issues, which obviously I didn't even think about. Because this, I mean, if you really believe what that this is a possibility, and even if, to say God forbid it did happen, where he lost his Secret Service protection, he will probably have his own protection, which is probably not going to be as good and as extensive as his Secret Service. And let us say somebody did penetrate the service and did end up killing him, God forbid. This could cause a war.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
It could drag us into an international war if it were an international actor who killed him.
Yes.
Maybe that's the false flag, because Biden has never not voted for a war. He's just a big war. I mean, if I were to go out on a limb here and say that he still has some mental faculties left and they haven't all been eaten up by dementia, then those faculties are going to be warmonger faculties. Okay. And what better false flag event can you think of as a Democrat than to have some foreign government or foreign entity or terrorist organization knock off Donald Trump? I mean, it's like made in heaven for a Democrat. Okay, you get your false flag. You get to go to war over. You get to defend the honor of the poor dead Trump, and at the same time, you get to put money in the pockets of all your war entities, the war party, or whatever you want to call it. All the companies like Lockheed and all the normal people, okay, and normal companies that make money off war.
Say too, not just the left, but neocons too might fall into this camp.
Sure.
You get to get. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you get to get on the side of every evil entity, left and right, in the United States, and still you get to knock Trump off. Man, I can't think of a better thing if I was a Democrat right now, especially a politician.
Well, speaking of sort of military costs that we sort of slipped into with this, another issue is that this whole thing has turned the Capitol into Washington D.C. into a police state, and they literally are spending like $500 million. It's been reported to police the Capitol with armed soldiers in the streets.
Yeah. That's $500 million. $500 million. Yep.
And during a time when we should be looking to cut every unnecessary expense. I mean, really. I mean, we sat there and we've killed production out there with this terrible government-led pandemic policy of lockdowns, and then to boot, we're making it harder for people to become productive and get back into the workforce. And then they want to spend more money. They want to take us farther into debt while they're not letting us be productive.
So just print it up. What's the diff?
What's the deal?
What's the big deal, Jason? You just print it up. Who cares, right?
Modern monetary theory.
But you see, this is the thing. They destroy the economy. Okay, they destroy the livelihood, the lives and the livelihoods of millions of Americans. And then they're going to fix it for us. They're going to come in on their white horse and save us all. Okay? They're going to print up the money, just like Tim is saying. They're going to give us these stimulus checks, these nice little stimulus checks. And we should all be grateful. And we should all bow down to Massa. That is what they want. That we be their slaves and servants.
Yeah. Well, speaking of government just giving edicts to people on what they can make and what they have to pay for things. One of the crazy pandemic policies going on in some big cities now is that the government has heroically and generously decided to pay frontline workers money from somebody else's pocket. In this case, it happens to be the grocery stores in Los Angeles. There's this local Heroes Act, I think, that went into play. And what they're doing there is they're forcing these local businesses to pay an extra $4 premium to certain workers. And I know that includes grocery workers there, because they've already wound up having the problem of 2 Krogers or Ralphs going out of business down there or closing shop. So sadly, the Heroes didn't quite get that compensation that they were promised so heroically by the government officials there. And something similar has happened in Seattle and likely some other cities as well too. And in Seattle, the grocery stores have immediately filed a lawsuit against the city to stop this. But just $4 off the top. It's no, there's no, your private business. You don't decide anymore what you're going to pay somebody or what you're going to negotiate with your staff. You literally are ordered by the government how much money to pay them. It's just beyond belief, the stuff we're considering and entertaining now with this this whole COVID thing. You guys have any thoughts on that?
Well, they are trying to create a nice little utopia for us, okay, where they tell us what we should or should not do. We are becoming their servants. So they can tell a private business, well, okay, fine, we didn't close you down during the pandemic, so be grateful. Be grateful we did not close you down. And now this is what we want you to do. This is what we are requiring you to do. You must pay your workers a little extra $4 per hour. Like if it is nothing. In their utopian world, policy does not have consequences. It does not. I don't know when these people will learn. Every time they increase the cost of doing business for anyone, whether it's a small business or a large business, it costs jobs. It really does. And I wish somebody will teach these people that. But these people are nothing but a bunch of idiots trying to destroy our lives.
Oh, Leon, you're so wrong. I mean, don't you know that these companies have bazillions of dollars just sitting in the bank, just doing nothing? I mean, these
it's in their mattress. It's in their mattress.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
they have a
mattress,
swimming pool,
exactly.
a company swimming pool that they all dive into and just swim through the gold.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like the dragon in the Lord of the Rings, where he's got all this gold or whatever it was. Maybe I got the wrong movie, but anyway, I got the wrong movie.
The
The Hobbit. There you go. And and they've got all this money, like Grandpa Duck, Daffy Duck's rich
Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah. Scrooge McDuck, crying out loud. And and even though it's a grocery store with razor thin margins, they do 2%, they're doing good. And but no, they got tons of money, tons.
Yes.
Leon, you're so wrong.
Would they miss a few coins out of that swimming pool just disappearing?
None whatsoever. Oh my gosh. None whatsoever.
Well, speaking of just knuckleheads who are trying to ruin our lives with their crazy edicts, it's time for our Knucklehead Noise Patrol. And taking us back to the crazy Capitol riots, we have AOC, who, there was kind of a little bit of a mini scandal where she had said that she was in fear of her life and just gave this whole dramatic, sort of monologue about how, they were coming to get her, and she was just a hair's breadth away from being murdered by the mob. And then it came out to the news that, hey, she wasn't in the Capitol building. Her office is across the street, and the protesters never actually broke in over there. But she had this huge drama that she was letting us all know about, and how threatened she was. Well, it didn't end there. In the conversations online, she accused Senator Ted Cruz of trying to murder her, along with some Republican colleagues.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and so this while saying she's trying to work, with those across the aisle. Let me read you the quote here real quick. I am happy to work with Republicans on this issue where there's common ground, but you almost had me murdered 3 weeks ago, so you can sit this one out. Happy to work with almost any other GOP that aren't trying to get me killed. In the meantime, if you want to help, you can resign. And that's what she told Senator Ted Cruz in a tweet where he was apparently trying to reach across the aisle and work with her. So, you guys have any thoughts on? This is just one of many crazy AOC things, and the media, of course, is nowhere saying, "Where's the evidence?" And nobody knows.
The stench of hypocrisy is unbelievable. We had Maxine Waters, who's a Democrat from here in California, telling her supporters, telling them to get in the face of those Trump supporters, let them know they're not welcome here. Blah blah blah. She said all that. We had Chuck Schumer, who's now the majority leader in the Senate, saying to Gorsuch and Kavanaugh and the Supreme Court, "You have unleashed a whirlwind, and you know what's going to happen to you if you keep on with these rulings."
Yeah, if you don't vote the way you want.
Yeah, exactly. And nobody ever said anything about that.
Yeah,
now we have AOC fantasizing about being murdered now because she's fantasizing about it, obviously, because she was not even in the area where the protesters were. She wasn't even close to it. She was not endangered in any way. But now she's fantasizing about being murdered by Ted Cruz.
Well, and
boy, these people.
Yeah. To be fair, though, her building was evacuated, but the protesters did not.
Did not enter. Right? Yeah. Did not enter. It was evacuated, yes, but they did not enter it. My God.
Remember the baseball game a while back that was shot up by somebody? Remember that one?
Yes.
The Bernie supporter.
A Bernie supporter, yes.
Bernie supporter. What? Wait a minute. What about that? I mean, he really did try to, I don't know, maybe even kill, I can't remember if anybody died in that one. But
no, I don't think anybody died, but no, there might have been, okay? I'm not sure, but Steve Scalise, who is a congressman from Louisiana, he's still suffering the effect. He was shot in the back. I mean, he's still suffering the effects.
A few other people were shot too. I think.
Yes, a few other people were shot. Yes, I don't think anybody died though.
But Bernie Sanders did not get in trouble for inciting that guy to go out shooting up Congress people.
How could he? He's a left winger, man. Come on. You got that wrong again, Tim. Come on.
I got to learn the rules.
You got to learn the rules.
Well, speaking of the rules, we're almost out of time here, so let me wrap up our show. Thank you for joining us, and you can catch us on Facebook's Libertarian Counterpoint on Facebook, and we'll see you at the next one. Thanks so much.